Unlike in the LEC where Schalke was winless, CLG actually managed to pick up their first win of the season against Evil Geniuses in today's Anarchy analysis, and we're going to actually break down the team fight that turned the tides of the game for CLG. But before we get into that, let's have a look-see at the Champ Select. Alright, so let's get into the ban phase of Champion Select, starting with the first three bans for Evil Geniuses. They ban out GP, Lucian and Rumble. 2/3 top lane bans there, removing Ruin's champion pool, and GP, high amount of burst damage with them barrels, also has a cleanse effective move and also a global ultimate that can just turn the tides of a fight without even GP being at the actual fight. As for Rumble, it's one of them predominant top laner picks, high amount of dot damage. Seeing a lot of bans, I would have expected CLG to have banned it instead of EG, but it's get taken out. And Lucian is that split top mid bot laner who does a lot of damage and is very, very effective on the current set of patches. He has been since 10.1, similar to what CLG's first ban is, which is the Akali, which I don't think we've actually seen at all this season. And Akali, high amount of burst damage, super duper strong and really, really good. Tom Kench is one of them low mobility supports that just remove any amount of burst onto a certain carry. He provides a bit of repositioning. It also leads me to think that they don't want EG playing a safe bot laner like a Senna, who has seen a decrease in the amount of play recently. And CLG's last ban is the LeBlanc, a high mobility burst mid laner, and also one of Jizuke's specials. He was known for it last season when he was on Vitality, and yeah, it's a good ban all round. Now, we're done with the first set of ban phase, let's move into the first picks for each team. As for the pick phase, we start with a set pickup, which is a predominantly strong pick on 10.2. It is nerfed on 10.3, but on this patch, set is a monster, and it's worthy of being first pick here. I love that pick. He's super duper strong, has a lot of damage with that Haymaker, and can soak up so much damage. As for CLG's response, they pick up the Jarvan, who's a very, very strong jungler, has a lot of mobility, has the ability to lock up. It also gives you the option of picking up an MF into the team comp and bullet timing people down. Or even a Philios, because he can get that Infernum ultimate and do a lot of damage that way. And CLG follow up with the Philios. Obviously, he wants to hit into the Cataclysm with a lot of burst damage. He's got a lot of mobility. He has a lot of good tools and damage. He just is a bit more scenario based than any other champion. And for the third pickup for EG, their last two picks of this first pick phase is Xayah Rakan, the Lovers duo, probably the best bot lane bar a Aphelios and say a Braum or a Thresh or a Nautilus lane. It's super duper useful, these two. Xayah has a lot of damage, a lot of rootability, also a lot of escape mechanisms alongside the Rakan, who can just literally just jump in, engage, cause an absolute mess alongside the set. Basically, if you lock someone up with Rakan and then set just suplex cities them across the screen, they're essentially stun locked for ages, and that's more than likely enough time for a Xayah to set up feathers and kill off the target that's been isolated. And as for CLG's last pick of this first phase, they go for the Nautilus, which is again a very bulky bot lane support who's got a lot of engage to help with the Jarvan, also can combo well with the Jarvan Cataclysm, allowing him to escape in some cases, as you can Cataclysm onto a squishy target and the Nautilus can land a hook onto that and pull himself away or towards the enemy without actually having to hit the enemy, like in the case of a Xayah, who could just essentially ult just before the actual thing lands. And for the last ban phase, EG ban out Kale and Mordekaiser, and CLG ban out the Lee Sin and the Gragas. Now, Evil Geniuses remove another 2 top lane picks here in the Kale that can technically be flex mid, as well as a Mord that can, in theory, be flex mid here. But EG have targeted Ruin's champion ball considerably. They feel he cannot play that many champions. Granted, there is still, say, an Aatrox on the board, or even a Ornn, but he's probably not seen to be able to play them, or if one's left up, EG would just take the other. And as for CLG's bans, obviously they already locked in the Jarvan, so taking away 2 very good engaged heavy champions and disengaged champions in the Gragas, who would be the only form of AP on EG's side, is very, very good, and I do like them bans as a whole. And for the last 4 picks of the game, we start off with CLG and Ruin getting his hands on the Soraka, which has been very, very effective in the current patch and meta. We've been seeing Soraka and Sona being played in the top side quite a lot recently. It makes a change from that Sona Taric bot lane, but these picks are kind of more predominantly in this meta. Soraka is less likely to be there for the 1v1 top battle against the set. It's more so picked for the team fight, and it's very, very good. It has a high amount of healing. If you land a Q, you're just gaining so much of that health back that you're using to heal up your team. You also, in this current meta, with the Ocean Soul, getting that cooldown down so low on that ultimate, it's going to be super duper effective, and you're going to be casting it at least once, maybe twice in an entire fight. It makes Soraka such a high priority top laner and very, very good. As for the last 2 picks of Evil Genius's side, they pick up the Ori and the Elise. Ori is high amount of burst AP, land that shockwave, you've got a lot of control in that mid lane, and can just essentially make it really hard for the opposition to deal with you if you're able to position that ball correctly and command dissonance very well. As for the Elise, it fits also really well into this high AD team with the Zyra Khan and the set being fully AD. Elise obviously provides an early game threat, which we should be seeing in this game, and it also gives you a very, very high amount of roam and clear time on that jungle. And CLG, in response to the Orianna, they get a counter pick of the Syndra, which I'm surprised actually went over to the CLG. Syndra is super duper good in this current patch. High amount of damage. She essentially is wanting to just press R whenever she can in order to essentially kill you. But yeah, that is going to be the pick ban phase done for this game. Let's jump into the team fight that we're going to be breaking down for you guys, and hopefully you understand it a little bit better once we break it down for you guys. Now, this fight is the literal turning point of the game, where EG lose control and CLG gain it, and they gain the gold lead as well as an extra Drake. And this fight obviously happens around Drake, and CLG have pushed up both mid and top and bottom lanes, giving them the inside track onto the Drake. So what do they do with this control on the Drake? Well, they have full knowledge of where the entire CLG team is, as they've seen Syndra chucking her orbs on top of wards, and the rest of the CLG members have shown mid to try and push. And in a sense, EG are a bit undecided on what they do. They float between mid and the river, pushing the wave, and they're kind of playing this very aggressive line. They're trying to force CLG to come contest them as the Drake spawns, and they're also killing off the mid lane, giving them an issue to do there. And in a sense, what happens is Orianna is playing really, really aggressive. She positions the ball in such a way she splits the the CLG team. However, she wastes her ultimate using the shockwave offensively, hitting no one. And Jarvan, from this, and the rest of CLG realise this is a time to engage, push in, and what he does is he flags and drags, knocking up the Elise. And he takes too much damage here, and he flashes away and tries to get to safety. However, following up with him was the Nautilus, and he tries to CC chain onto that Elise, trying to pop her before she can actually get any control of the dragon and give essentially a free Drake over to CLG. However, Elise repels up while the Nautilus has popped his stone plate, and he's in a bad position here. In a sense, he's surrounded by a Set and a Rakan who's ulted, charming him up. Essentially, he's dead to rights. There's no saving him, and that essentially gives EG free control over the Drake pit. So the CLG members disperse mid, forcing Ori and Set on the EG side to go with them to obviously counteract the CLG push of the mid lane, and it kind of leaves Xayah and Elise alone to kill off the Drake, all while Jarvan is in position to counteract the two-man Drake take, and Jarvan shows and cataclysms onto them two takers, and because CLG pushed in the wave first in mid before EG can react, they immediately collapse towards the two trapped members on EG's side, and immediately the Elise gets bursted out by the Soraka and the Syndra and the damage from the Cataclysm, essentially making it an even 4-on-4 fight. However, the big difference in the 4-on-4 is it was jungler for support, and that trade favours CLG tremendously when it comes to a Drake fight, and that is because you still have your smite on your field, giving you that massive amount of damage burst onto that Drake, and essentially EG cannot fully contest this. They may chuck a few spells at the Drake, and they can't fight either, because all of their team bar Set is very, very squishy, and it wouldn't be too hard for the CLG members just to kill them off, because they'll be constantly healed by that Soraka, making it too hard to deal with for the rest of the game. Now, that is the end of this fight. Let's break down the game as a whole. As a whole, this game really could have gone either way. It was very, very explosive and had a lot of action contested around the objectives, and you can't really say this game was won at pick ban phase. I mean, the teams looked fairly even on paper. You've got a very strong engage heavy team comp with the Jarvan, the Nautilus, and a Syndra against a very safe and defensive lineup that's looking to get an early game advantage from a Set, Xayah, Ori, and Elise. So the game was not won in pick and ban, it was won with how the objectives were controlled. In a sense, the early game was obviously won by EG by getting an early pick on Crown in the mid lane, but they lost control of one of the most vital objectives in the current meta in the Drake. And the Drake, obviously, people are contesting a lot more because they want the Dragon Soul, and that Dragon Soul is what wins you the game mostly. It usually, when you get that, 9 times out of 10, you will win that game. However, there has been instances where people have lost, and that's due to teams being able to outscale and absolutely punish mistakes. And once CLG gained control, they didn't really give that many opportunities for EG to punish him, and CLG played it cleverly. If they got into a fight and lost a member, they were able to trade it back, and that's what kept them ahead. They were getting trades, like 1-for-1s, 2-for-2s. That really didn't affect them too much, considering if you lose your Soraka, that's your glorified top lane support. If you lose a Nautilus, that's another support gone. Essentially, they were playing two supports, an engaged Jarvan and a Aphelios and Syndra carry. You can't really get in that team comp as a whole because they've got so much sustain. They've got two big bulky champions in the Nautilus and the Jarvan. They've got Soraka healing them up constantly, and with the dragons giving her bonuses to that cooldown on her ultimate just meant that that ult was coming up so often and so often, giving them the ability to just stay in and take objectives without having to reset, where EG would have to because they haven't got the ability to heal. And that's a sort of misplays and control that if you lose control, it can rapidly go out of control for you. And it almost happened in that way, but they kept it close. I'm actually amazed how close EG kept it throughout the entirety of the game. It was just the last in control on objectives that cost them essentially everything. But that's going to be it for this Anarchy analysis. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new around here, and I will see you guys later for a TFT time tomorrow. Alright, peace out.